Hello, hello, friends. Welcome to WIP Wednesday, episode number 142, I believe, where this is my weekly live show where I'm often talking about something, showing you a project, a demo. We're talking about what's going on. Today, we're going to be comparing two of the HTVront mini heat presses. If you tuned in last Wednesday for WIP Wednesday, episode 141, we were talking about HTVront mini heat press 3, which actually was not yet available, and I only got their email after the video had already gone live. So we're back to kind of do a little recap and compare it to the model that y'all were seeing off the link we linked y'all to last week. So now both of the links are open and available. One is on pre-sale, which is the latest model, and the other one can be purchased at any time. So the links for those are in the description box if you're watching us on YouTube, and they're my affiliate links, by the way. And then the other, we also put the links on the Facebook caption for those of you that are watching us live on Facebook or watching the replay. Either way works, okay? Let's make sure that y'all can see me and hear me first. Let me know in the chat box where you're tuning in from. I'm coming to y'all from my home crafting studio here in North Central Florida, where it is definitely hot and humid Florida temps. Let's see. Hi, Nancy, tuning in from Clermont. That's south of us. We got Kay in the house, another Florida neighbor, tuning in from Jacksonville. Hi, Susie. We got Linda in the house. Hi, Tracy, tuning in from Scottsdale, Arizona. Margie says she can see me and hear me, so thank you for that. Margie's tuning in from Wisconsin. Hi, Laura. Janice is in the house too. Great. Okay, good. We have a bunch of y'all, and I think everybody can see me and hear me. Thank you, Tracy, for letting me know. She can hear me. Great. Okay, so we have a couple things to talk about. I re-prepped all my stuff so we can kind of put both of the little heat presses head to head. So before we jump into that demo, because we'll kind of be in the weeds with that stuff and trying it out on a few different items, I wanted to quickly go over and give you a heads up. Couple things. Last week we talked about our email newsletter list management company or whatever, the one that we've been using for like 15 years shut down. So we had to switch over. So we weren't able to email y'all last week for WIP Wednesday. So thank you to those of you who had tuned in, knowing that we were still going to go live without having received an email. But today we are all set up and running. So you should have gotten an email if you're on our email newsletter list about today's WIP Wednesday episode. So if you got the email, that means you're on the list still. And we are back to sending emails. So yay, I'm super happy about that. Now, I posted in the email newsletter, aside from the WIP Wednesday episode today, I mentioned that I'm running a sew-along. It's going to kick off next week, so look out for another email that's just about the sew-along. But we are working on the Jalie pattern number 3887. They're Clara Leggings. Now, I first released this class years ago, not that many years ago, but a couple years ago, and a bunch of us, I mean hundreds and hundreds of students signed up and have made dozens of leggings, many of them. I am back to making more because I needed more in my workout wardrobe, and so I thought, hey, why not make them together? So I've made several pairs this week. I made a pair for one of my friend's daughters as well, and so I thought this would be a perfect sew-along to have y'all join in on. So let's go ahead and show them. This is the Clara Leggings video course. Because the pattern is a Jalie pattern, it is purchased or sold separately. We have a few of the hard copy patterns in still. And if you're familiar with my garment courses, when I do the Jalie ones, it's a huge sheet like this because their patterns feature tons of sizes. This one specifically covers 27 sizes, and so I like to trace off the size that I'm going to make. The 27 sizes range from a little girl's size toddler 2T to a women's US size 22. Okay, so you can get the hard copy pattern. We sell them in our shop. I don't think we have that many left, but you can also get the PDF pattern directly from Jalie. So when you go to the link for the leggings video course, and it has a description of everything that's included in that course, you will see at the bottom links, either to the hard copy pattern and to the PDF one, so you don't have to go searching too much. I've included them there. You do need the pattern. If you're one of those students who signed up years ago and you still got the pattern, this would be a great time to jump in, because if you are already enrolled in my Clara Leggings video course, you don't have to pay anything, right? You're already enrolled in the course. So we'll be adding a live Q&A that I'll be going live inside of the course. So if you already have access to it, that means you can participate in the sew-along. And it just helps with these sew-alongs, right? To give you a little boost to like, oh, I have that class, I have the pattern, probably have the fabric, and that way we just all join up together to make it. Now, real quick, briefly on the pattern, you can make shorts, capri length leggings, and full length leggings, okay? So there's 3 different length options that are built into the pattern, as well as 2 different waistband options. One is just like a turned under elastic waistband, which I've made myself several of those because it's just such a quick make. You don't even need that much fabric, even if you're making it in the larger sizes, so that's usually my go-to. But the other waistband is a contoured double layered waistband, so you get a little bit more coverage here at the top. And this is a pair of a capri length ones that I made for myself. So you can kind of see where the waistband is up here because I didn't match it super perfectly, but you can see right there that horizontal seam. So this is a separate contoured waistband, which is a really kind of sleek, it's not difficult, it's just like a nice sleek technique to learn how to do, so you can add it to the leggings pattern. So again, and there's a ton of different fabrics, mind you, I will say this briefly, the course itself features 41 video lessons. This is not a tutorial for you to just like watch one little 10-minute video and make them. There's 41 video lessons. So it's like a master class in working with stretch knit fabrics and learning how to make every view as well as both of the waistband options, okay? You don't need a serger, because I know that's probably a question that people are asking, because that's always a popular question. We make the entire thing, and no matter which view or size you're making, with a regular sewing machine that can do straight stitch and zigzag stitch. That's all you need, okay? So I do, however, for those of you that have sergers and are like, I have a serger, I never use it, I'd like to use it, right? If that's you, guess what? There's bonus video lessons in the course showing you how to make it on the serger, how to hem it with a cover stitch machine as well. So I cover everything. You make the whole thing on a sewing machine, but if you do happen to have a serger, or maybe you want to see how a serger and a cover stitch machine are used, you can watch those video lessons and see, oh, okay, this is how I would use it if I had one, and then who knows, you might end up wanting to add one to your machine, to your stack of machines like I have back here, okay? That's right. Windless Original says, oh snap, 41. 41. I guess we can say there's 40 lessons because one of the videos is just a welcome video, but 40 videos, step by step. From choosing the pattern, choosing the fabric, showing you different samples, showing you different types of fabrics and how they affect the size and the leggings that you plan to make. Then every single step, from tracing the pattern to cutting it out, to how to transfer over notches and all the markings, how to sew things together. Now this pattern is really cool because it's not like a regular, you know, sometimes you find like free downloadable PDF patterns on how to make leggings or whatever. This doesn't have a center seam down the crotch here. It has a crotch gusset that gets sewn into the crotch, but it's fully flat. So you don't have a seam running down the middle. You just have a seam running down the back. So it actually allows for a really comfortable and easy fit. So it's a little different because you have, and I have a little pattern piece here because I've been making them. This is just one of them, and this is the little gusset piece that we sew into the crotch area without having a front seam. If you've ever have pants like this or leggings or workout gear, biker shorts, check them out if you have them in your closet. If you see that it doesn't have a center seam and you have ones like that and you like how it fits, I personally do. It's a great way to learn how to make leggings, just a little bit more refined of a look, right? More kind of high level type stuff, especially with that contoured high waistband, okay? Let's see. Oh, Marilyn's asking. She says, are there directions for a foam pocket? There are not in this specific pattern, okay? I know Jalie has some other patterns that have some pockets on them, but we don't cover pockets in this one. I mean, 40 lessons is enough to just get you through making the full pair of leggings in shorts, capri, or full length. And I will mention, I recently made myself a pair of biker shorts. You probably saw them on the email newsletter. I used the shorts template, but I added 3 inches to it. And then I made myself some biker shorts that just come down a little bit further down on the thigh for when I'm jumping rope. Okay? All right. Linda says, I love the class. Need to make some more too. Perfect. I hope you're going to jump into the sew along, Linda, since you already have pretty much everything you need. Tracy says, I just bought the pattern and all your rulers. Oh, this is going to be good, Tracy. Make sure to post pictures because I want to see your leggings. Let's see. Awesome. Oh, Windless Original says, I already knew the course was worth it. I mean, 40 videos, it's just different because sometimes people are like, can you do a tutorial on that? Like, there is no way I could do a 10 to 20 minute freebie video tutorial on this pattern. There's just no way. I mean, there's 40 lessons, 40 video lessons. And y'all know I like to teach super step by step. So that's what you can definitely expect in that class. And I was gonna say, if you're thinking about joining, this would be the time, because the class, I put it on sale for the sew along, okay? It's $30 off the regular price. So it's an amazing value, and y'all already know when you sign up for my classes, they never expire, okay? So when you get it at a sale price, it's yours. It's in your student account dashboard on my website. You can log in whenever you want, and that way you get to watch the lessons at your own, on your own time and at your own pace. We have speed control on all the video lessons, so you can speed me up or slow me down, and you have closed captions. Okay, so if you commit to watching the lessons and doing what I'm showing you to do step by step, I promise you're gonna make a pair of leggings, okay? All right, so let's see. Are we on still? Okay, because people are saying what happened. Okay, I hope everything's still working, because sometimes this thing be flashing in and out. Okay, so now we are ready to do a head-to-head with these two HTVront mini heat presses. Let's go ahead and give everybody my over-the-shoulder camera shot, just so we can visually see these guys now. Okay, so if you tuned in last week, pretend that you didn't. And let's start this junk again. Okay, so when I saw that, well, and when I got the email from HTVront saying it's still not on pre-sale, we'll send you the pre-sale link when it's available, I was like, oh, that would have been nice to know before. But anyway, this is the original. This is the box that it comes in. This is the mini heat press machine, okay? It's this little guy. The one that I started talking about last week was the Mini Heat Press 3. It's this one, so different box, okay? The original one, and just looking at them right off the bat, and I think I have them both plugged in. Yep. This little guy is smaller, obviously, than the new one. And I saw my friend Michelle from Michelle's Party Planet. If you all don't follow her on YouTube or on Facebook, check her out. She does all kinds of stuff, sublimation, heat transfer vinyl, and she has videos on a ton of heat presses and, the different types of machines that we use for these types of crafts. And so I saw in her video, she had the actual Cricut little mini heat press thingy, and it's smaller than all three of these. The Cricut version was the smallest, then this guy, and then this guy was the bigger one. So those of you that have been maybe, weighing your options and considering getting the Cricut one, just know that it's smaller than all these ones. So they both have the little base. This is like a hard plastic base on the original mini heat press. And then the one that I have here, the Mini Heat Press 3, obviously it's bigger to accommodate the larger sole plate, and it is silicone, it feels like, okay? So it's bigger, and it's just more pliable. This guy is like a little hard base. Now, if we look at the sole plate on both of these, you can see that the Mini Heat Press 3 is bigger. Also, they added this little curve down here. I didn't use this last week when I was showing y'all the demo. I won't use it today either, because I don't really have anything round like that to add this stuff to. But you're supposed to be able to use this round chunk here if you are, say, wanting to apply heat and pressure to something that's on a curve. So on the side of something, I think we talked about last week using a tailor's ham, or you could just roll up a towel. Let me grab this. Or you could roll up a towel, right, and drape whatever your project is, whether it's a shirt, the sleeve of something, a cap. You could kind of drape it over this and then be able to apply the heat on this slight curve from the little curved chunk that they included in the sole plate. So I haven't tried that out yet. I have, a sublimation tumbler press machine, so I don't know that I would use that. But for those of you that maybe do Cricut crafts in terms of heat transfer vinyl, glitter vinyl, and things like that, and you might be applying things to little curved edges, just know that you have that one here on the Mini Heat Press 3. Remember, if you're looking for the links on where you can get either of these, I've included my affiliate links in the caption and in the description box, okay? So that's that. The cords to me are the same length, so there's no big difference there. The handle here, you can see that the hand opening is smaller. I can really only get 3 fingers in there. I can tuck in 4, but if I do, then I can't put my whole hand in, so it's kind of uncomfortable. It's actually more comfortable to just hold it with 3 fingers, whereas this one, because obviously it's larger, I can accommodate my entire hand, and I have large hands, so I can fit all 4 fingers in here. It also has like these ridges, and it just makes it a little bit more comfy. It's not quite as rigid, it's just smooth in here with this smaller one. The difference in the sole plate, I think, is substantial. If you're looking for a mini iron, it depends on how mini you want to go. But if you're going to do, and as I'll show you in a minute, heat transfer vinyl or sublimation, you know that you have to apply the heat, the pressure for a certain amount of time. And so if you have a larger project, you're going to have to keep doing that over and over and over. So the larger the sole plate with that heat, the quicker you're gonna get done pressing the whole thing down, right? Or sublimating, whatever it is. Oh no, Debbie says I had the Cricut one and it literally burned up after 3 months. No joke. That sucks. That's horrible. Sorry that happened to you. Karen says that she read that you can do cups on the base. So that's what I'm saying for some of those curved ones, like a mug, you know, sublimating on a mug or something like that, going around the edge, or those glass mugs. For me, it's just because I have bigger tools to handle larger things. I don't know that I would use that at all, but okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and turn these guys on. The main difference, I would say, aside from the size, right? One is a little bit smaller, one is a little bit bigger. For me, I think, especially those of you watching, if you sew and you quilt as well and you kind of do little crafty things here and there, if you're looking for a mini iron, right, like a little mini thing, I think either one of these would work. The main things I see are the heat settings, right? So on this one, this is the regular one, the mini heat press machine. When you turn it on, first of all, as soon as you plug them both in, they beep just to let you know, okay, we got power. So when I press it once, it turns on this 1 bar. If you press it again, you'll see 2 bars, okay, light up in red. And then if you press it again, you get the 3 bars lit up in red. And what those bars signify are a specific temperature. So you're not actually increasing or decreasing the temperature or the time that you're pressing it down on, right? It's just giving you 3 ranges. And so in the little manual, you can see how little it is. This is it. This is just the instructions right here. Basically, with 1 red bar, you are setting it to 284 degrees Fahrenheit or 140 Celsius. The 2 bars take you up to 320 Fahrenheit or 160 Celsius. And then the 3 at the hottest setting, it says it goes up to 356 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius. So when it's red like this, it's heating up, okay? When all the lights turn green, then it's reached its temp, the set temp, okay? So let's go ahead and leave that there at the highest setting, just because that's kind of in the range of, you know, a good hot iron in a cotton setting. Whereas the other one, when we press the power button, we have temperature and we have plus and minus buttons. So this says 320 is what I had. It keeps the memory of whatever you had it set at last. Look how high. It's already heating itself up and it's up to 100 degrees already. So I can hit this temp thing and then increase how hot I want it to go, or go down if you want to cool it off. You're working with a different type of medium or whatever you're working on with your craft. You can go up or down. So let's go up to the same range as that one. It said 356. We'll do 360. That's fine. And so it blinks, okay? Once it stops blinking and this turns green, that means it's reached its temp. So similar, it's just here you have 5-degree increments up or down to work with and to set it more specifically than you do on this one, which you can see has now turned green. That was super fast, y'all. That was my main thing. And I have other HTVront presses, whether it's the big auto heat press or the sublimation one. These things, I don't know what they're doing to them, but they heat up so fast. I have presses and things from other companies and they do not heat up this quick. These are going to heat up even faster, obviously, because they're little. But man, you're ready to go. So even if you're not working on a super small project, sometimes we have, you know, little last minute things that we're like, hurry up, I need to make this fast. Instead of heating up, like my big steam iron here, it takes over 10 minutes to heat up. And so if I don't plan ahead correctly, I'm not going to be using that one, right? Because I don't have time to be waiting on it. So these little guys, if you just need something quick, 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 boom, boom, then you can use it like that, okay? Or, you know, they heat up super fast. Okay, so this guy's still coming up to temp. So for us that sew and quilt, let's go ahead, and this already has some starch, so I don't know if this is gonna work that good, but I'm gonna try and crumble it a little and just to see if we can get some of these creases out with this at the temp. This little one, because it doesn't, ooh, nice. I can see it really easily smoothing things out from where I just, you know, wrinkled them up. What I like about this one right here, I'm going to say if you're looking for like a mini iron, not necessarily like a mini heat press, because you can set the temperature and just go say to the highest setting like this, and it's just going to stay hot. They all have automatic shut off. I think one has 15 minutes and the other one has 10-minute auto shut off. So you just have to keep an eye on that, which, I mean, it's good and it's safer that they each have their own auto shut off. I saw it on the HTVront website. I don't see it on here in terms of how long it takes to shut off. But I think this one is 10 minutes. I mean, that one's maybe 15. But what I was going to say is if you just want to have this like a little iron that's set to a certain temperature, good enough for cotton fabrics, right? And you just want it to have it hot, you don't have to worry about timers and setting it for 10 seconds or 12 seconds or I need 60 seconds or whatever. this one would be good because that's how you can use it, just like a little mini iron, right? Because this, since we cannot adjust 10 seconds, 60 seconds, 120 seconds on this one, we can only adjust temperature. That means that then it's up to you to control how long you're pressing for, okay? Depending on what the project is that you're working on. So if it's for fabric, you know, for us, we're gonna keep pressing until we don't see no wrinkles, okay? Or until the interfacing is fused, right? So let's do that while I'm working with this little one. That got the wrinkles out pretty good considering there's no water or nothing on there either. Let me grab some cotton woven fusible interfacing because you know for us, if we sew, we don't care how good the little iron is. If we can't fuse no interfacing to our fabric with it, it's not going to be good, okay? Because we need it to be able to do a bunch of different things. And so that's why I like to do these things for y'all. Because although, you know, these types of things are out on the market for people doing heat transfer vinyl and all this kind of crafty stuff, we want to use it just on fabric and just to make small pouches or little projects that we're working on. Even if you go to retreats, if you are working on a quilt and you're putting together all your patchwork units, you know, you don't want to have to get up and go over to an ironing board to press each seam. You can have a little ironing board set up with a little mini heat press or mini iron like this and be doing your work right there on the side. It doesn't use a lot of electricity. It's small, it's little, and it has its own base. So for something like that, I think that would be awesome. Let's go ahead and fuse this to the back of this cotton fabric, making sure that I have the scratchy side facing up so that the little scratchy tiny bits of adhesive get fused there. And so we just have it on the highest setting, which the manual thing said 356. Some of my irons, like my good iron that really heats up and fuses stuff quickly, gets up to like 375 when I've tested it with my heat gun. So we're just going to check this out real quick and see. And that was kind of just a couple seconds, just enough to see. I usually like to let it cool and just mess with it a little bit to see. Okay, look. I mean, it's already fused. So cotton woven fusible interfacing will work, okay? Sewists and quilters out there, so that works good. Let's go ahead and try, and this is with the little guy. This is the mini heat press machine. This thing I think is under 30 bucks. So the price difference in these two is not that big of a difference. So just consider, you know, the size and that customization option that you have to control both the temperature and 5 degrees increments up and down, as well as the time settings. And when we get to that one, we'll talk a little bit more about that for those of you that missed my chat last week. Let's go ahead and try this because, you know, any little heat can easily fuse cotton woven fusible interfacing, right? Because it's just a layer of cotton fabric. However, when you start getting into loftier fusible fleeces, fusible battings, and things like that, you know, you kind of need a little bit more heat. You need a little bit more strength and power in there to get it to go through. So let's test it out. Again, I'm placing the scratchy side with the adhesive down on the wrong side of the fabric. And I'm going to fuse this here and see. And make sure that you're reading the manufacturer's instructions because sometimes they tell you to put a damp cloth on. I can already feel it. It's stuck already. Look, where I placed it, it's already stuck. So you know that it's at least going to get these little jobs done, right, for things that we need it to. Of course, if you're planning to lay out a yard of fabric with a yard of fusible fleece or interfacing, you're going to be here forever, right, because this is not ideal for that type of a scenario. But if you're just prepping all your pieces, maybe you're fixing to make a bunch of little pencil pouches for gifts and you're setting up your stuff assembly line style, you can totally get away with this. Look at that. It's already stuck on there all the way around the edges. This is key because this is how I know that it's a pretty consistent heat up throughout that sole plate. If I had it all fused here, but like I pick it up on this side, then I know, hey, there's some cool spots on that sole plate. But this feels good. Nice and hot. Janice is asking if the cords are the same length. To me, I'm looking at them right here, Janice, and I did. I said that earlier. I was like, they look the same. Yeah, they are the same length because they're kind of in the same spot and they reach the same spot on the extension cord. So they are the same length. They're not that long. Maybe 6 feet, something like that. Okay. Ooh, you see, Linda says my hubby might want one to use for applying covering on his model airplanes. This is another thing. Remember a couple weeks back, I was doing the demos on putting Odie coat on cotton fabric, and it had you put like parchment paper on top and then fuse it, like press it, and we did it on the heat press. That kind of stuff would be perfect for this because say you're making coasters or you're making little pieces or you know you're just applying that waterproof coating on 5-inch squares or something, you could totally do it with this without having to heat up a huge press or take up a huge spot on your table, okay? So Caroline's talking about ordering the mini heat press 3. This guy here, it's on pre-order. So I think they have you set it up like, I don't know if it's like a dollar deposit or something like that that they're doing. But the link that we've included in there takes you to the page where it's at. And they're doing like a pre-sale thing for like the next week or two, I think, like a couple weeks for the mini heat press 3. So just look around, maybe scroll all the way to the bottom to where the information is, or if you see a button that says add to cart, I think it just is like a deposit so that you can pre-order it, and that's how you get that sale price. It's like 20% off. And that makes it to where these are almost the same price. Like they're not that big a difference in price, okay? All right, let's see. Ramona's asking, would it fit inside of a 4x4 embroidery hoop? I'm here for you, Ramona. Let me grab a 4x4 embroidery hoop. I don't know if I have a 4x4, but let me see where my 5x7 is. This is the beauty of going live from my actual working space. Okay, let's grab a couple of these hoops. I got 5x7. Oh, this guy is a little one. I have all my big ones right here. Hold on. You know why? Because my brother, PE770, is the one that has that 4x4, and I don't have that machine set up here. But somebody's beeping at me. That means that the other one is all set up. So I don't have the 4x4. Okay, we get it. We get it. Oh, this thing's probably going to auto shut off is what it is. Okay, so this is the 5x7, and then I had this little bitty. But see, this is almost the size of this guy, and what size is this? I've never even used this little hoop. This is 2.5 inches by 3.5. So it's about the size of a 2.5 by 3.5, so guess what? It will fit in a 4x4 hoop, okay? It definitely fits in the 5x7, even the big guy, look. End to end, and you still have a little bit of room on both edges, okay? I love these questions. Thank y'all, because, you know, I would have never thought to do this. So when you catch me live, you get live answers. All right. So let's see. The max temp on the little Cricut Mini, on the Cricut Mini. I'm not sure about the Cricut Mini. These are both HTVront ones. I'm not sure what the temp is on the Cricut one. I don't have it. The max temp on the little guy, which is the mini heat press, just the original, okay, is 356 degrees Fahrenheit on this little guy. And then on this one, oh, I can't remember. We shall see, but it goes up higher because we're already at 360 here. 390. Okay, so this gets a little bit hotter. I think this is kind of more for like sublimation, because I know I've had to do stuff at sublimate different items at 390 for a bit. So it does get a little bit hotter, and again, you have that. That would be my main thing, is that having that 5-degree control where you can go up in 5-degree increments and go down, as well as set the time. If you know that this project calls for 30 seconds, and you know yourself, and you're just gonna hold it there and get super distracted, and you think you might go over the 30 seconds or potentially scorch or burn your project, your fabric, or mess up the stuff, then this would be handy to have, because you have the time feature on here as well. Okay, 15 seconds. Once you click it 2 times and you go away from the temperature and you're in seconds, then you can increase it in 5-second increments up or down for however long you want it to go. You still have to hold it there. It's still going to keep heating if you leave it past the time, but at least it'll beep at you and you know, oh, okay, the 20 seconds are up. All right. Okay, let's see what else. Let me grab a sip of water. Oh, good. Amanda says she made 5 sets of those coasters with the Oded coat. I loved it. Awesome. Yeah, I replaced our coasters out there with all the ones that I had made. I made like 6. Okay, so the little guy so far is great. It's nice and flat, pretty even temp because of the stuff that I pressed and how quick it fused the cotton woven fusible interfacing, as well as the lightweight fusible fleece, okay? Or fusible batting, excuse me. I'm trying to see, does this get super hot? It is hot down here. See, the silicone one, because it's more open and bigger, I can pick it up by here. I mean, it's warm, but it's not burning my fingers. This guy, I mean, once you hold it there for a couple seconds, ooh, it's hot, okay? So be careful with that too. If you think you're gonna have someone, or you yourself are gonna try and move it from there, you might wanna just have it set on an ironing board surface or on an ironing table, and not really grab it from there, okay? Because it feels hot to the touch down here. All right, Diana, the link is in the caption. We put it in the chat box and everything, to my affiliate links for each one of these, and those are the actual right links. I quadruple check them for y'all. Okay, so this is the original, just called the Mini Heat Press, and this is a Mini Heat Press 3. Okay, it's the latest version. And they all come in a couple different colors. The main thing so far that I'm noticing is the size difference and the control difference on the big one, that you can actually set your temperature and the time, okay? But I mean, if you're just looking, if you're someone that sews and quilting, you're just looking for a mini iron, really either one of these I think will work for that purpose. So let's go ahead and do this guy. We're not going to set it to time for now because we're going to do the exact same little test that we just did. We're going to fuse some cotton woven fusible interfacing as well as some of the fusible batting to it. Let me see. I'll get some cotton woven fusible interfacing. This is Bosel Fashion Fuse for anybody that's wondering. And this guy, we're not going to set it to amount of time, right? Because again, just like I did with the little guy, I'm just using it as an iron at this step. So I put it there, make sure that the scratchy side is facing up so I don't fuse the interfacing to my little mat. And then we're just going to set this on. And ours was set to 360. So it's like 4 degrees warmer than what I did with the little guy. So it should work plenty fine. Okay. And it does. Fully fused, easy peasy, not bad. Let's grab this guy. Oops, scratchy side facing up. Same thing. Let's fuse it. See what we get. And we're using them, I call them, I mean, they're called mini heat press machines, right? Because they're kind of catering to the craft world that know about heat presses and using them on vinyls and sublimation and stuff. But for us, you know, we talking about irons. If we're not using a time limit, we are just pressing it with it anywhere we want. Seams, press your quilt blocks flat, and fusing interfacing to it all. So there you go. So in terms of how we would use it for sewing stuff and quilting, you already know either one of them would work. One has a larger sole plate than the other, but in terms of actually heating and being able to be used, you got it, okay? So now, let's see. Nancy says, it seems like the new one is less likely to tip over. I've seen the Cricut Mini fall all over to the side at times. You know, I used to have a little teensy one, like, oh, maybe 15 years ago. And it was sold at Joann's, like a little iron. Man, that thing all the way down to the cord was super, super hot. It had a little flat base on the back, but you couldn't get it to stand up. So notice, neither can with these because the cord is coming out of it. You see that? The cord is coming right out of it, so you can't really set it up. So that's why they come with these bases, so that you make sure that you just leave it down. This guy, the same thing. It's not even flat along the back. It's rounded like an oval, and then it kind of peaks at the tip, which I like that both of them have that, because sometimes when you're pressing something right into a corner, it's the same way that our irons are pointed at the top, right? You can use that tip to really get in on those corners, and both of the models have that feature, okay? But again, the cord is right there. It doesn't have a stand or nothing. It's not flat there for it to stand. So you just have to use the little base for both, okay? All right. Daniel says, how is it better than an iron? I don't think these are really better than an iron. They're just smaller, more affordable, and they take up less space to still get the amount of heat that we would need to press and fuse little things together. If you're going to be doing a lot of work and you're working on bigger things, an iron obviously is going to be better because the sole plate is larger. That's oftentimes why we use the heat presses, because one heat press can cover some of them. I mean, I have an Elna press here that the space, I don't know, it's like 7 times the amount of a regular iron sole plate. So you could press, fuse interfacing. If you're interfacing t-shirts and you're making t-shirt quilts, you're not going to sit there and fuse the interfacing to stabilize the back of your t-shirts with this little thing. You're going to be there all weekend, okay? So an iron or a press in those instances would work better. So it's just a matter of having a sole plate with some heat, and then based on the project that you're working on or the quantity of stuff that you need pressed, you want to go increasing the size of that sole plate so you can do it, okay? Yep, great question. All right. Oh, Daniel says, for fusing vinyl labels on t-shirts, how is it better than an iron? This might actually be better for that. If you're putting a little label, if you can still get the temperature that the specific label requires, you have less of an area that you can potentially scorch, crease or mess with because an iron is so much bigger. So that's where these little guys come in handy. If you're just fusing a little label, you definitely want to have a smaller sole plate so that you're not unnecessarily applying heat around, right? Especially if the t-shirt or the jersey or whatever you're applying the label to has any type of synthetic fiber content in there. If it has some type of poly blend, the more heat you add to the poly blends, the more you're likely to scorch it, melt it, or worse, like leave those burnt lines. Have y'all ever pressed polyester for a long time, you know, where the fabric doesn't look like itself anymore? It's like all matted. If you do it to jerseys, sometimes you get this sheen on the fabric that cannot be washed or removed, and it's wrecked. Okay, so for that, for little things like that, that's a great suggestion too. Those little vinyl labels onto t-shirts, that would be perfect to do for a little one, okay? All right, so yes, Nancy says great for labels and applique, absolutely. If you're a machine embroiderer, like somebody asked about that 4x4 hoop, a lot of in the hoop projects these days feature all types of heat transfer vinyl, puffy foam, this and that, and you need to apply some heat inside of that hoop without removing the project. These are gonna be your best bet, not an iron, right? Because the iron is gonna heat up everything. It's gonna melt your hoop while it's at it, okay? Okay, so now let's move on to the next little thing. I don't have the full project that we did last time, but I did have a couple more of the stars. So let's weed this. This is just Caesar Easy Weed. This is heat transfer vinyl. And I'm just going to fuse this. And I'm going to fuse, I don't think I'm going to do both. I'm just going to cut it in half. I just want to see how each one of them applies heat transfer vinyl to the fabric. Okay, so we're going to do that. Let me weed this real quick. Ooh, Linda says she loves it for paper piecing. That's a great idea. Any type of small stuff where we need to get small creases, pressing multiple seams on little quilt blocks. Those are definitely scenarios where I would prefer to have something like this versus, you know, heating up your whole room with an iron. And I know because every time I go live and I have a whole iron heated up or 2 irons, worse, by the time I get off of here, I'm like, oh, I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. So if you live somewhere hot, or you don't have AC, and you don't want to heat up your whole house, your whole room, you know, something little like this would be great. All right, we are what? Plucking out the stars, I think. Let me see. Yes, we did. We plucked out the stars last time. So last week I made this, and we used that mini heat press 3. This is just a little design. I teach monthly arts and crafts class for local senior citizens, and so this is the one that we did in the last week of July, or last week of June, so they can have their little July 4th patriotic canvas tote here, and they really had a good time. I taught them how to weed, which of course is tricky to see, so I did have to help a few of the ladies, and then we just pressed it onto the canvas tote to get that little design. So I'm not doing the whole thing again because I don't have any more of the red stripe, but I do have the little blue part. So let me not wreck that bag. This will just have to be a sample tote here. I do want to use my little wool mat or an ironing border surface that's nice, flat, and stiff, okay? Don't do like I did last week and use one that has some slats of wood and they're not a full continuous thing. You want the pressure that you're applying to be full, you know. I'm just going to throw it down here. Why not? Okay, so let's do it with the little guy first because we already know that the big one works good. I did it last week for a demo. So we're going to leave this. I'm going to leave it at the highest temp again. So we press it once, blinks 1. That's low, medium, basically, and high. So I'm going to wait for it to turn green on the highest setting, which we said was 256 degrees Fahrenheit. When it comes up to temp, I'm going to place, you can do parchment paper, butcher paper, or something. I have this like a Teflon sheet to go over top to protect the carrier sheet just in case from the heat. And then we're going to press it on here, which really, now that I'm thinking about this, heat transfer vinyl, I think only requires 312 degrees or something like that. So actually, I can do without the 3. I can do to 2 there. So we'll let it warm up. There we go. And it is warmed up, ready on the 320 degrees. So I'm just going to take this off, and I am applying some pressure. Again, we don't have the time setting on this one like we do on this guy, so I can't really set it for like 10 to 12 seconds or whatever the specific material is that you're fusing. So I'm just kind of holding it in place and making sure to go all the way to the outer edges. Make sure you spend enough time on each of the different little segments. So when we go to peel it off, we don't really run into any issues. We're about to find out if I have any issues. Ooh, that was nice, huh? Super easy peasy, right? Winless Original says, I'm impressed with how quickly they come up to temp. I'm telling you, HTVront really is killing the game. All their heat press tools that I have, they heat up so fast. That was like the first thing I noticed. Look at that. Nice, smooth. It's not crispy or lifting around the edges. Everything is nice and stuck down. And we already know that this guy does it because that's the one that we did this bag with last week, okay? So I'm kind of impressed though that at the 320, without even using it at its highest heat setting, you could do all kinds of t-shirt transfers, right? Heat transfer vinyl, cut it out with your cutting machine, your Silhouette, your Cricut, whatever, boom, and you're good to go. And this is not even that small of a chunk, and you saw it was only seconds, so that's good. Let's see. Next thing I want to try is sublimation, which we didn't do last week, but I did go ahead and pull out some leftovers that I had from another project I did with the senior citizens. This is just, I bought these little, just, you know, plain little canvas zip pouches on Amazon. And then I printed, I don't have a real sublimation printer, y'all. Whoops. I don't have a real sublimation printer. I have an inkjet printer that I have converted, shame on me, right? That I converted to sublimation, and it still works. So what are you gonna do? It was cheap. Maybe one day I'll get a true sublimation printer, but I don't do sublimation all the time. So this is a little design that I found that says spring is in the air. This, I think we did this project back in like March or something. I try to do theme stuff, you know, for the month that we're working on that craft for. And I don't really remember what the time and temperature is on this, but we're gonna try it. Let me grab my heat safe tape real quick. I think it's out here actually. We were using it for something else. My puppies are sleeping. Okay. Heat transfer tape. You hear my little lullaby music. The puppies are sleeping out there. We put them little doggy relaxation music. Okay. So I have my heat safe tape. Don't use regular Scotch tape. I'm going to position this where I want it. I think I'm just going to do it kind of off to the left. Look at it like that. Make sure that it is not upside down. Key thing to do. And I'm going to put a couple chunks of this. I don't want it to move on me at all. Please stay in place. And let's try this with the little guy. I'm a little bit scared because I feel like sublimation, I put the temp up to like 390. So let's play. And let's do, oh, I had said 256 earlier. It's 356, huh? My bad. I misspoke. I just caught myself. I remembered what I had said. So 356 is the highest that this guy goes. So let's see. Can we sublimate? Obviously, this was printed on sublimation paper with sublimation ink. And these little canvas things have a polyester base, I guess, because they were selling them as sublimation pouches. And I will show you what a real one looks like that we did on a heat press. Look how cute that is. Spring is in the air. So this was a little project that the ladies did in one of the classes. And so, let's see if we can get something that looks similar to this. For the sublimation, I don't bother to put something inside of these because the canvas is kind of thick, so I don't worry about the ink going through. And if it does, it's on the inside of a pouch. Who cares? But what I do want to do is put some parchment paper on top so that none of that ink, okay, it's beeping at me. We're up to temp here. And I don't want it to, you know, transfer over to this. I don't want this to move. If you've done sublimation before and gotten ghosting lines, you know why I'm like, oh no, please don't move. So that ink, it like turns into a gas and that's how it transfers over. It's something weird like that. So like if that paper moves any bit, you get what's called ghosting. It's like not a clean edge of the transfer of the ink. It's like a fuzzy, like blurry line, and it's not cute. Okay, so let's do it. I don't know if this will work, but sublimation, I want to say we pressed this thing for like a solid 45 or 60 seconds. And so because the project is kind of like 4x4, I'm going to have to spend a good bit of time here. I'm just going to try and do it for about a minute. I'm pressing all around, right? Trying to get every bit of that ink and hopefully not moving the paper underneath and the tape. But y'all are about to discover with me if we can really do this. Now, these projects should turn out because these machines, right, these little tools, these are called mini heat press. So this works easily with a regular heat press. And so if I'm just having to manually hold it in place, they should, right, transfer over. And we're going to do another one. I want to see with this one, also I'm going to set the temperature up to like 390 and see if that works too. Come on, sublimation. Oh, Nancy says she loves that tape dispenser. Thank you. I think my friend Michelle shared it on her thing. Michelle from Michelle's Party Planet. And I got it off Amazon with her affiliate link when I first started. I was like, okay, what are all the sublimation supplies? I need to buy all the things. You know how we do. Marilyn, it's a tape dispenser. It's kind of weird when you first get it to set it up. Like you get these, the rolls of tape, and the way you insert it there, it has a little blade that cuts it. So when I go like this, all the little pieces of tape that are coming up have already been trimmed to about 1.5 inches. And so you have little bits that you can put. Isn't that cool? My little sublimation buddies use them in all the videos. I was like, what is this? Okay, so here's a tip. If you've never done sublimation stuff before, which I can kind of see here. Once you start pressing, if you're able to start seeing the design through the paper, that usually means that all that ink is getting transferred over. Okay, so that tells me that I think it's hot enough, right? That the temperature is good enough to be transferred over. Because I have this ridge of the zipper, I'm just trying to really get up onto the edge. I should have probably scooted it down a little because I want to make sure that I'm really getting the pressure and the heat applied fully flat on the design. I would hate to lift this thing up and see, like, you know, some fuzzy flowers and some clear ones, but we'll see what these lines are looking like. Okay, that's enough. I'm just like, come on. So once you remove this, can you see here? And I'll show y'all that. How on here you can make out the design and here you really can't. That's what I'm saying. When the design starts to show through, that's how you know, okay, it's transferring over because it shows up more bold through there. I'm going to let it cool a little bit because sometimes if you peel it off, like you take off the tape and you remove it while it's still hot, you can get some ghosting lines too. It's not even that hot. Let's do a sneak peek. Ah, a live experiment. Don't mess up on me. Okay. Ooh, some of it. I need to do a little bit more there because I want it to be the same amount of color. Not bad. So this is one of the things. This, you see how I do a bunch of little pieces of tape? I start lifting from one edge. If you peel the whole thing off and then think that you're going to try and get it back on, it's not going to happen. Okay, so I peel a little bit so that way the rest of it is maintained. So hopefully now that I just pressed this right back to where it originally was without lifting it off fully, I can add a little bit more here, more heat here. Where the G was, like the spring, it was kind of going from darker green and it hadn't transferred fully over. So like the ink was a little bit light on the edge there. So I'm just going to apply a little bit more. And that makes sense because if I was doing this at a higher temperature, it would have transferred over more easily. And so because this only goes up to 356, you know, and it's going to depend on the sublimation ink that you used, what project you're applying the sublimation image to, and then of course what the sublimation paper, but like each thing is going to give you a different, you know, the sublimation paper that you use will tell you for this project, use this temperature for this time. And then the design or the ink will tell you the same thing, you know, so they're all kind of different. You have to play around a little bit and really do a little bit here, a little bit there. And let's hope I didn't just move it and make it go, you know, like over an area that was not supposed to be. Let's see. There we go. So I did get a little bit of ghosting, probably when I moved it. But look at that. I can see like a little bit of shadow almost on the is in the air. But see this green? And now I got it to be about the same color. But see how cute that is? Not quite as bold as this, but it's probably because of the temperature. So let's give it a go with the other one. So that works. It's just longer because it's at a lower temp. And that thing is hot. I'm holding it, but it is hot. This one is not hot. Well, obviously it's off. So let's go here. Oop, wrong button. I'm going to go up in temp. Let's go to 390, the highest temp that this guy goes, and see the difference in the sublimation to here. And really, you can tell by how much ink is still left on here that I really could have done at a higher temperature and even more pressure. That's the difference between doing them on a big press and then trying to do it by hand. So let's try it. I'm gonna do higher temp and I'm gonna try to apply more pressure so that I can get more ink out of this one. And let's do it here. I'm gonna scoot it down some, like I said, just to get it away from that raised up edge of the zipper. I'll have to put the link to this tape dispenser for y'all. It's great because the tape doesn't melt and it doesn't leave any adhesive residue, which is the main thing I think from if you were using, you know, like regular tape. You don't want to do that. All right, I'm gonna put some more down here just to help keep, really, you know, one of the things I'm thinking about here, because the sublimation tumblers that I do, we really work hard to wrap the design around the whole tumbler and push out any air. That tells me that maybe the little bit of ghosting that I got there is because there's air. You see how this is lifted up? If I press it and lift it and press it and lift it, it's like a gap in there. So I'm gonna do my best to put more tape to try and keep it fully flat and held against the fabric there. Okay, so we're gonna go 390 and let's set a timer on here so I know for sure how long I'm using it for. Let's go 70 seconds. Why not? Okay, so now I have it set to 70 seconds at 390, and what we do is, if we remember from last week, we hold the power button for 2 seconds and it's gonna start counting me down. So 1, 2, and there it goes, 70 seconds. So I'm gonna do my best to get this. Now, the sole plate is bigger, so having it in the middle, I'm covering almost the full design, which is great. So I'm trying to put really some good downward pressure too and see how good we can get this design to transfer over. Yeah, you see the whole design is almost covered by the sole plate on this bigger one. So even on a little design like that, that makes a good difference. Marilyn is asking if that tape is good for in the hoop embroidery. I guess it depends on what you're trying to hold down. If it's something, look at that, y'all. I can already see the design. So it makes a big difference having a higher temp too. So if you're going to be doing a lot of small sublimation designs, I would recommend this one because the other one only goes to 356, okay? And it's going to depend, you know, too on what you're applying this stuff to. But I'm pretty sure I did this one at 390 before, so that's what I had remembered. But this design should be fully transferred over by now because I can see almost all of it shining through the sheet. Marilyn, I was going to say it depends on what you're trying to hold. If it's something lofty and thick and stuff like that, maybe not. But if you're just trying to hold something in place for you to, you know, press or something like that, like you're pushing back a seam or something and you're pressing, I don't see why not, okay? Yeah, Joan says, could you add the link for where you get your images on the heat transfer vinyl? Sure. Yeah, I can add them. Now, I'm going to remove this. I can see the design through there. I'm going to give it a second. Ooh, no air gaps, please. And this thing is hot. Like the other one, because it was at a cooler temp, slightly cooler temp, when I took it off, it wasn't quite this hot. And this is hot. So I know that this, hopefully, fingers crossed, transferred over really well. And so that was what, about less than half the time that I spent with that one because we were able to crank it up to a higher temp. So that's what I mean by also using the time that you're going to be pressing. I was talking and I would have still kept going thinking there's no way 70 seconds have passed. So because I had that, I beeped and I was like, oh, 70 seconds have passed. So if you need that little reminder, I think it's good to have it on there. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, this one turned out. There's still some ink on here. Not quite as much as the other one. It transferred over more ink. This one's lighter. But still, spring is in the air. Ta-da! Okay, so they both work for sublimation. And, you know, in general, obviously for small projects like this, you could definitely do it. So that was good to see. Yeah, this one definitely you can tell the difference in the words down here. It's not quite as bright. Do you see that? This one was the one done at the lower temperature, and this one is a lot bolder, done with the Mini Heat Press 3 at that higher 390 temperature. okay? So I mean, that's side by side like that, it is a significant difference. And then this one was done on an auto heat press. So a lot crisper lines because we're not really, you know, kind of just rubbing it on top. But I mean, these ones work good. This one is just a cooler temp, okay? So keep that in mind just to show y'all, you know, a couple of different little projects and ideas of how you could use it. I will go ahead and after I get off, huh? No. Heat transfer, the images, the designs I use. Yeah, I use some of them. I get some of them from Cricut Design Space because I have their yearly subscription thing. But I have 2 other accounts that I use, and I think I have affiliate links for those. So I'll put those in the chat. I'll do a post on my Facebook page, Joan, and I'll put that in there too so that you can check them out because there's literally tens of thousands of designs, both for heat transfer vinyl, SVG, you know, files, and then also the sublimation ones. I also get them from there so that I can, you know, throw together these quickie projects. All right. Let's see. Oh, Pam is asking, what can we do to find your store? I'd like to get the hard copy pattern. So our store is just going to be at craftygemini.com, and then you click the shop tab, and it's right there. There's a little magnifying glass on the top right of my website. You go to craftygemini.com, there's a little magnifying glass on the top right, and you can type in Clara Leggings. And anything that has to do with Clara Leggings will pop up. So the course will pop up, the hard copy pattern will pop up, and things like that. And that way is an easy way for you to shop around on the website, okay? All right, and then I will remember, so let me jot that down real quick. I need the tape dispenser. Y'all know, once I get off this live, my brain is gonna go blank. So let me jot this down real quick. So we're gonna do the tape dispenser, the heat tape, okay, and then the designs link. Okay, so I'll post those on the Crafty Gemini Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/craftygemini, and I'll post that on the site. Oh, Alita says she went to the website, but we're already sold out of those Clara Leggings hard copy patterns. You can purchase them. I mean, if you do a search for Jalie Clara pattern, there's other sellers that have them. People sell them on Etsy and everything. If you're in Canada, it's probably more cost effective to order directly from Jalie because they are in Canada. Or if you just want to do the PDF pattern, you can order the PDF directly from Jalie, and the link is in the course description page for my leggings course, okay? So that's that. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing nothing else. And I think that's going to be it. So again, the links for both of these, the mini heat press original, right? The regular one doesn't have a number. Mini heat press machine, this one. And then the other HTVront mini heat press 3, which is the latest model. I think we covered a good bit and you got to see what's the difference and the similarities between these two. Let me know if you end up getting one of them or both, like I now have, and what your favorite uses are for them, because we definitely want to hear that. And you'll probably end up seeing me use these again in some more video tutorials, because now that I have little guys, instead of heating up my whole room while I'm doing these lives, I think I'm just going to use 1 or 2 of these, right? When I'm doing demos, press a little seam, fuse a little something. These are going to be my go-to now for classes, retreats, and of course my live shows here too. Okay, so thank you so much to everybody for tuning in today. We are now, if you got the email from us, we're back in business with sending out emails, and I will be sending out another email to everybody letting you know about the Jalie Clara Leggings sew along. So if you think you might want to sign up, this week is the week to do it, because the course is $30 off the regular price. And again, remember that the course features 40 step-by-step instructional video lessons. We're making the leggings 3 different lengths with 2 different waistband options. So if you want to join in, remember that you don't have to do it right now. Once you sign up for my classes, the course content never expires, so you can log in whenever. But you're also going to get access to me live for a live question and answer session that I'm going to be hosting on the course, on the leggings during this sew along. So if you've already enrolled in the class and you've never gotten around to making it, this is your time to partake in actually gathering supplies, making some leggings with us, and asking your questions live, okay? So we're making these types of leggings. Well, these are the capri length ones that I made. I have shorts, I got biker shorts, I got a bunch of these, and I need to make more, so I'll be making some. I'm going to see which day next week I can go live to maybe finish making a pair live on camera and see if we get some more friends who want to join in on the sew along and sign up for my course. And yes, Susan says, see you tonight. For those of you that are in my Organizer Club 2nd edition, we have our 2nd live question and answer session tonight. So I will see y'all there if you are in the club, and otherwise I will see you all next week. Stay tuned for Clara Leggings Sew Along info, and have a great weekend, everybody. I hope you find some time to do something creative this week. Bye.